Good night, America. It's time for your news by the numbers. Tonight's number is 200,000. The Trump administration will terminate the provisional residency permit of 200,000 Salvadorians living in the United States, leaving them to face deportation. They will have until September 9, 2019 to leave the U.S. or find a way to obtain a green card. After earthquakes hit the country in 2001, Salvadorians were granted temporary protective status, and their permits have been renewed now for an 18-month basis ever since 2001. And America, President Trump is on a warpath. Now, as we're telling this story to you, and during this taping, we've heard alarming reports from the Washington Post from two sources inside a bipartisan meeting in the Oval Office where the president was quoted as saying the following: "Why are all these people from these shithole countries trying to come here?" It was reported by the Washington Post. The White House has not denied these comments. And there's two sources that confirm that the president was talking about El Salvador and Haiti, who are both two countries who have citizens living in the United States under the temporary protective status sort of label. Now, here are a couple places who have individuals living in the United States under this type of status: El Salvador, Honduras, Haiti, Nepal, Yemen, Somalia, and South Sudan. There are over 300,000 people from 10 countries who have faced natural disasters who have been given TPS status since the 1990s. Now, every president, both Democrats and Republicans, have renewed this status over and over again. Now, I'm going to give you all the facts. I don't believe in sparing you any facts. Now, what is true is that under the Obama administration, some Salvadorians were sent back to El Salvador who had temporary status, but not a number as huge as 200,000. Now, this is why this issue is so damning. And why, I mean, this is one of these issues that to me is it's heartbreaking, because this is just not who we are as Americans. Let's listen to this quote from Representative Velasquez from New York at a rally, sort of fighting for Haitians who have this temporary protective status, and there are about 60,000 of them that have been here since 2010. Their status has already been sort of taken away from them by President Trump. Let's take a listen.
We have to make sure that Congress resolve this issue by passing legislation that will put an end to a temporary status that gives it doesn't provide any final resolution to the problems that these people are confronting today.
And what you hear from this Congresswoman speaks to the larger problem that I think we have in this country, is that this president has taken an inhumane stance against these individuals who live in the United States. Right? Now, let's talk about, before we get into the moral argument, Fowler Nation, let's have a conversation about the economics of this one. So President Trump has sort of touted himself as this economic champion and this economic hero, and how he's going to make America great again. He's going to prime pump our economy. But if he really cared about our economy, then he would want to extend the status of these hundreds of thousands of citizens from these other countries, these TPS and workers here. Now, majority of them work in the United States. Most of them work. The U.S. is slated to lose $164 billion in GDP over the next decade if these TPS workers are sent home. On top of that, these TPS workers, if they lose their ability to work in the United States, it'll cost American businesses. Now, we're not talking about big businesses like Walmart and 7-Eleven and Costco. We're talking about small construction businesses. We're talking about mom and pop businesses who hire these TPS workers. It will cost them $167 million in turnover costs if they lose these workers. These workers also contribute to this hemisphere, the hemisphere that we live in. Right? This hemisphere here, this one that we live in, that includes Central America, the Caribbean, it will cost this hemisphere millions of dollars on top of that, right? So remittance payments to the remittance payments that are paid to El Salvador from the United States is 15% of their GDP. For Honduras, it's 16% of their GDP. For Haiti, it's 15% of their GDP. So when the president makes these type of decisions, the ramifications are endless, not only for the United States economy, but for the global economy and for the economy of these countries that will ultimately benefit the United States economy because it's a domino effect. So that's the economic argument. But beyond that, let's just have a moral argument for just a minute. We're the United States of America. We are a nation of immigrants. Every single person, besides the indigenous people, came here to this country as an immigrant. Some by force, some voluntarily. Everybody came to this country as an immigrant, though. And if that is the case, and if that is true, who is it for us to then say, oh, we're not going to allow you in. We're going to shut the doors on you. We're going to clamp down the doors on your ability to be an American and achieve the American dream. That's what President Trump's trying to do, and that's not who we are as Americans. America.